we're walking down the woodland with my trusty steed, and we are going to go and find somewhere to sit, make a cup of tea. It's got my bug out bag and my mug. And then we're going to tell you a story about this woodland. I'm going to tell you the kind of origin of when we came to be in this woodland. And I'm quite into my Welsh folklore, English folklore as well, but we're kind of on the border here. And we had a little bit of an incident. Now, the non-believers among us when we were on this evening wouldn't say there was anything, but I've got a strong feeling there was something else, and that they do secretly think that something was very odd that evening. So we're going to find somewhere here in this bit of the woodland to have a little sit and try and make a cup of tea. So I was thinking of sitting in our tree house, but the wind's picked up, so if I have my camera away so you can see what I'm doing and what I'm talking about, it's probably going to be very breezy and the audio is going to be crap. Unless I go and find my mic. Keep looking. And so the more I'm looking, the more windier it's getting, of course. Okay, I found a little spot, but I am not sure how to position this camera. Hopefully the wind doesn't knock that up. Okay, I think that'll do. I'll try and shout a little bit. I need to get better at this, so next time I'm going to bring the mic with me. Anyway, I'm going to make a cup of tea. Sorry Lewis, you're going to have to edit this because I can't keep pausing it. Men tighten stuff up. I'm gonna have to shout him. For God's sake, he's made this so awkward for me. Oh dear. There we go. Tell you what, you watch other YouTubers on YouTube and you think, oh, that's easy, I can do that. It's really not. But the way we've got to go now if we want some financial freedom, so we'll give it a go. But the full one? No. Which you get your face out with it. Right. Move yourself because I don't want you gassed out. There we go. Is that right? I think so. Okay. Well, of course it wasn't going to work, so where's my lighter? Shall we? That's better. got there in the end. I don't know if you can see that there, maybe, possibly. I can't tell because I haven't got my glasses on. Oh yeah, you can see. That's good. Right, let's put that there. Oh, see how well that does. So, probably going to hear Rico chewing on some sticks, but that's fine. Right, so my dad bought this woodland probably about 7 years ago, and it was clear cut. So pretty much everything was chopped down, including what I believe to be oaks, but I can't prove anything because it's hard to know what a tree is when it's been completely floored. And they only left 9 pines and some chestnuts, which we just walked through behind. And then, because it's been 7 years, things have grown up a little bit now. And there's a couple more larch down here that were still here. But apart from that, everything was just cut down. Really sad. I hate seeing things like that, but Dad's brought it to bring it back. So when they did that, they cut them down and then they did lots of fires. This will all be relevant afterwards. So there was lots of fires done, and then there was trees replanted. So pines and silver birch, and the chestnuts came back because they'd been coppiced. So they've all come back quite quickly. I think there was a few cedar. And there's quite a few maple, but I'm not sure they were planted, and there was a few oak planted. So over 7 years it's grown quite a bit, which is nice. However, about 2 years ago we decided to camp out. We had a bell tent on a piece of land bit here we call summer camp that we'd mowed, and there was a chestnut next to it. And then we had a fire, and we had the fire contained in a old washing machine drum. So we were listening to some music and having a couple of drinks and some food, and it was evening, and my mum and dad were there, and me and my husband. And we kept hearing strange noises and rustling, but that's not unusual. We heard the owls, and we pretty much know what most stuff is. We've been outdoorsy for a long, long time. But there was this odd noise that started in the background, and first of all the rational brain comes in and you start to dismiss it, and it sounded like, well, it didn't sound like a lorry at all, but everyone was like, oh, it must be a lorry on the road, because we've got a mainish road behind us, but it's not like a big main road with lots of lorries, and this was late at night, so it's far away. But I had this odd feeling, and when I have the odd feeling, there's usually something a bit more odd going on. And then it got a bit closer, and again the rational brain takes over, and I thought it was a hot air balloon. So that was the only noise I just could describe it as, was the roar of a hot air balloon as they turn up. I assume it's gas that they use, or whatever they use, and the flame, and it makes that noise. It was literally sounded like that noise. That's the only thing I could relate it to. But it kept getting closer, but there was no hot air balloon, none. We looked above us, there was nothing, no airplanes, no nothing. And I just could not, for the life of me, make out what this was. Anyway, it got so close, it was in the chestnut tree. Thanks, Rita. It was in the chestnut tree right next to us, to the point that my husband got up and thought something was about to come out of the chestnut tree. The chestnut tree was rustling, and this noise, fiery noise, was coming out of this chestnut tree. Anyway, it just went completely gone. We cannot explain it to this day, and it was the weirdest thing that I think I've experienced. Well, I've experienced a few weird things, and I'll probably do some more videos on this, like ghosty stuff and what have you, but that was the most odd thing that I've experienced with what I would describe as elementals. There's a lot of folklore here in Britain. We have a lot of history and a lot of cryptids, maybe. I think is that the American word for it, cryptids? I mean, we've got woodwoes here, but they're called Bigfoots in America. I don't think it was a woodwow. My husband thinks it might have been, but I think it was actually a dragon, a drago. So, but you can believe whatever you want to believe, but it was so odd, and I really wanted to just tell that story, see if anyone's had any other experiences like that. You better not knock my... Yeah, so it was odd. My mum and dad dismiss it to this day. It was a lorry apparently on the road. It didn't sound anything like a lorry. We've been here 7 years and I've never heard anything like it since. And if I'm honest, I think it was when things, so this, you know, the beginning of the story telling you about the woodland, when things are clear cut and devastation happens, I believe, and there's a few other people that believe, that things are invoked into protection. And I think it thought that we were setting fire to the wood again, and it was not happy about it, and it come to check us out and make sure we were behaving ourselves. So maybe, who knows? I mean, I have cut down, well, not cut down, but cut bits of branches and stuff just to tidy up around the place. And if I ever touch an oak, I get like this really strong breeze just right at me, like, don't do that. So we don't touch the oaks, and if we end up having to move an oak for whatever reason, we always replant. So yeah, that was a really interesting story. My cup of tea has taken a long time. Not even boiling yet, but we've still got a bit of a breeze, so it's probably going to take a while. Got the sheep behind me. Can you see them? Can you see them in there? Hi guys! You're nosy. Oh, this is me set up. It's going to take a little while. So I think I'll leave it here while I sit and have my cup of tea. But the sheep and Nico staring. He won't chase them, he's got no interest. Right, see you in the next video.